something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Hello, beautiful people. How are you this very fine Tuesday? I apologize for last night's show. I was having every endeavor to put a show on last night. I was running late. It would have been at 7 o'clock as the normal time would have. It was a bit past me beyond what I was doing yesterday afternoon. However, when the time came to do that, everything shut down at this end, which made life a bit interesting. But it only shut down for about an hour, and then I was able to get Life in the Universe back up again. But I thought, let you sleep. And I didn't have that much of import to tell you. So I've been running around doing various things over the weekend that have kept me away from a lot of what has gone on in the world. But there has been a few bits and pieces that have struck my attention. Michelle Bradley Smith first in, and I don't know, you must have got some form of notification, or did you just happen to pop by? I don't know how that works. Harm's in the house. Hope you and Ebs are doing well, mate. Aussie Sue, who is soon to be a resident near me, if I'm right to believe. I think that could be happening. D. Bergworth, I hope you are all right, brother. Life, the universe, and everything. I imagine you're just sitting at your desk ploughing through paperwork. Good luck to you, mate. I know the battle's hard and tough, but if there is anybody who can fight it, it is you, my good friend. Sab, mate, you're a legend. 4-month membership, and I can't appreciate it enough. Thank you for everything that you do for us, mate, and lovely to have you as part of the family. Debs, you too. And this bloke in Pinaroo who, I don't know, so many things I could say about this gentleman, but let's just suffice to say he is a true gentleman. So I hope you are doing all right, Pete, and I hope you get a chance to drive your big machine very shortly, even though that would mean there is a very large fire somewhere near you. So hopefully that fire isn't, I don't know, some other department's property, and you get called in to assist. So I just hope it's not on your property. Hope and pray that is the case. I'm sure you're getting some mixed up weather like we are. We are today, not, in fact, I can probably tell you what the temperature is. Temperature is about 26 degrees, and it feels like 22, if I'm honest. And we're on the verge of starting to get some rain. I was speaking to Skipper Pete, who's up at Ingham. They are expecting from about now onwards, or be up until now, he was expecting another metre of rain. I think I spoke to him on Monday. No, it might have been Sunday we chatted, and he was expecting rain by Wednesday, at least another metre back through his property. So that's the big system that's moving down from far north Queensland. I've heard from people in Cooktown who tell me that there is over 500 mils that has fallen there when before it started moving south. Now, this isn't the same system, but it's we're a very distant part of it, sort of related. We're going to cop about 300 mils in the next couple of days around here, somewhere between 300 and 500. They're saying we'll cope with 500 mils pretty easy, but the ground is still wet. We had cause. Life on the farm, they say it's kind of laid back, but we have some friends across the road here who got some car keys and put them on top of a fence post that was an old tree and let go of the keys. They fell down the hollow centre of that tree stump that was used as a fence post. And it meant that we had to pull the fence post out because they were stuck in there. We used magnets and all sorts of stuff to try and get it out. When I say we, I'm talking about Dwayne. And eventually had to get the pole out of the ground, which was an interesting exercise to see just how much water was still down there, about 3 feet from the surface. And there is a huge amount of water down there. So Something we still have to be very wary of around here, of course, is that the water hasn't entirely gone away. The ground isn't going to soak up a great deal. So we'll reach that flooding point again, if you like, pretty soon, where the water just runs off and runs downhill. It just means that our creeks and gullies are going to get another little bit of a workout. But it is what it is. Just finished the lambs on the bottles, Pete. That sounds nice. 8th of April, you're coming down our way, Sue. Looking forward to it. I've got some friends in your part of the world, and I will make sure that you become aware of who they are over there. So it'll be great to have you down here. All right. I think we've got a small group for the chat at any rate today. So apologies again for last night. And tonight, I won't be back. I don't think I'm going to be back in time for another show at 6:30. So I have to end this one in about 15 to 20 minutes because I need to be at an airport to pick somebody up. And then I've got to do some other bits and pieces, and getting back here by 6:30 will be a real issue. So I may get and have a bit of chat afterwards because there is a little bit more information that's just sort of starting to come through, and I haven't had much time to look at, much less check. But a couple of those things would be there's some big businesses collapsing, and it appears that childcare are amongst them at the moment. Just saying. Pardon me but a moment. Oh, that's one of the people I really should be talking to. But we'll finish up with this first, and I'll give him a call back. So, yeah, and it's not the only one. There are a number of childcare agencies under a great deal of scrutiny and under threat of closure, if not being closed, and they are chains. It appears like there's going to be some sort of interest rate war. Westpac have dropped their variable rate. Now, let me just read it here. Dropping its variable rate home loans by up to 35 basis points as a mortgage war between lenders heats up. Westpac will now offer new customers a variable rate of 5.84%, equaling the lowest variable rate. Well, how does that help the people who've already got mortgages that have had the interest rate blow through the roof, and in some cases, I'll close that, triple the payments that they're normally making? Donald Trump has had a smart move. Of course, the mainstream media, I'm going to call them buffoons because I'm just getting sick and tired of calling them liars. Trump has decided to remove Hunter Biden and his sister's protection detail, the Secret Service protection detail. He found that out from the media that Hunter Biden was actually in Africa doing some business, and he was surrounded doing business on a yacht somewhere, or may not have been a yacht, but at any rate, he was surrounded by over a dozen Secret Service agents. Now, he's had any security clearances he might have had taken off him, so too has Joe Biden. But now the Secret Service protection detail that was afforded to him has also been removed, and that of his family, because it costs a huge amount of money. Now, if you're not aware, there are some, I'm pretty sure you are, I'm going to flick through some stuff here that's older news. Some of it you might know, some of it you might not. Joe Biden issued a whole heap of pardons just before, like in the last hours before he left the presidency. Those pardons included the likes of Fauci, Schiff, and a couple of generals, including Miley, who was the head of the military Joint Chiefs of Staff, I think they call it. Anyway, all of those pardons have been checked because Biden, at the time these pardons were signed, was actually on holidays in the Virgin Islands. And so there has been a comparison made between Joe Biden's signature and an auto signature that was used. Now, as you can see, the Biden family pardon, the January 6th committee pardon, the Miley pardon, the Fauci pardon, all those signatures match up. Once more. Now, there is such a thing called an auto signer, and that is what that is, an auto signature. So that makes the pardons 100% illegitimate, and all of those people will no longer be eligible for the benefits of a pardon if Donald Trump declares that to be the case. If they don't kick up a fuss about it, although Trump is mentioning it, certainly, if they don't kick up a big fuss about it, then I would suggest we're looking at a game that's got it's like a two-headed coin. We're going to lose either way. And if they do kick up a fuss, well, I would suggest they need to know who is in charge of the auto signer, and how these documents were produced, where and how, and by whom. And those people need to be brought before the Justice of the United States, which I think the Department of Justice right now might take a very interesting and very active view at anybody who was issuing pardons on behalf of a senile president who was holidaying in the Virgin Islands at the time that these were purportedly handed down. So keep an eye out on that one. But anyway, Trump has knocked off Biden Jr.'s and his sister's security details, and they're crying about it. Oh boy, are they crying about it. It is the kind of thing you'd probably expect from them, though. Okay, now I've got a couple of things here I wanted to talk about. Now, Albo Sleazy, I particularly like the way the noticer has phrased this. Australia's open borders agreement with India is biological warfare. I could not agree more. They are diluting the base Australian population. And in fact, without wanting to be black or white about it, they are taking the white out of Australia. Pardon me. There was once a policy where we should be having more children. I think people should be starting to consider having more children. I know of a certain age that's obviously not going to be on the cards, but very soon white Australia will be bred out of Australia. And that's just how it's going to be. Now, it may not be in our lifetime, but it will be in our grandchildren's lifetime. So be aware, this is happening, and we need to motivate people against it. We need to bring people's attention to it. And I'm not saying we can't have Indians come and live here. Well, we are the most accepting nation in the world. We are the most multicultural and safe multicultural country that I can think of in the world, except for the inflated or conflated threat apparently posed to anybody of the Jewish faith practicing anywhere in any city, anywhere in Australia. If you are one of those people, you apparently believe that the whole world is against you and that the $35 million that Peter Dutton has promised to give to rebuild a synagogue, and it's not really rebuild it because it didn't really get that much damage. I mean, it wasn't $35 million worth of paintwork, let's be honest. But I know this $35 million will go into making sure that they feel secure. Now, that place has already got tremendous security. That's how they had the security camera footage of the people who did the spray painting and the firebombing and the other bits and pieces that have carried on from late last year until, well, I guess in January sometime. It seems to have stopped at the moment. Now, it may have stopped because it's been recognised that there is international influence being put on a bunch of ice heads in Sydney to go and do the bidding of some international criminals. Now, it's easy for the AFP to call them international criminals, but in many instances, these are Zionist Israeli intelligence forces enacting an operation against us. And the AFP knows it. Now, okay, there might be some tactical and investigative reasons why they don't come out and admit that, but I'm sure everybody knows everything in their intelligence circles. It'll be known that they know who was behind it. And what are they going to do about it? Absolutely friggin' nothing. In fact, what we're going to do is distract the shit out of you, and we're going to go to war. Now, I'm not usually, as you know, a Karen Brewer supporter, but Karen put out a very good video yesterday, which I posted on my Facebook page, and she asks a lot of very good questions about whether or not you want to go to war, or whether or not you want your children or your grandchildren to be going to war, because that is exactly what Albo Sleazy has signed us up for. A statement on the Coalition of the Willing Leaders meeting. Now, I don't want to read it, but I will. Tonight, I joined a Coalition of the Willing virtually meeting. I'll start again. Tonight, I joined a Coalition of the Willing virtual meeting hosted by Prime Minister Keir Starmer in the United Kingdom, along with President Zelensky, the leaders from Europe, Canada, and New Zealand. I reiterated Australia's strong and steadfast support for Ukraine and restated that Australia will stand with Ukraine for as long as it takes. Leaders agreed to continue working on delivering concrete actions to support Ukraine now and into the future. Australia stands with Ukraine, and we will continue to do so for as long as it takes. It is the right thing to do, and it is in Australia's national interest. Because what happens in the Euro-Atlantic has serious implications for our region, the Indo-Pacific, and vice versa. This is a struggle not just for the people of Ukraine and their national sovereignty. This is a struggle for the international rule of law. President Putin's regime has imperialist designs for Ukraine and beyond. We must ensure Russia's illegal and immoral actions are not rewarded through any peace process. That last line one more time. We must ensure Russia's illegal and immoral actions are not rewarded with any peace process. That means he wants us to go to war. But he continues. Australia supports all meaningful progress towards a just and enduring peace in Ukraine and for broader security in Europe. But pressure will need to be applied on Russia to engage in good faith. Australia is always open to considering any new proposals to support Ukraine, which we do so based on our capacity and comparative strengths. Australia has committed $1.5 billion to help Ukraine defend itself, including $1.3 billion in military support and through vital equipment and training of Ukrainian forces. Australia is open to considering any questions to contribute to a future peacekeeping. Australia is open to considering any requests to continue for future peacekeeping efforts in support of a just and lasting peace we all want for Ukraine. We have a proud tradition of supporting peace through 80 years of contributions to the international peacekeeping missions. Of course, peacekeeping missions by definition require a precondition of peace. Albo Sleazy, doing what Albo Sleazy does best, and that's bullshit. All right, seems I've dropped out again, so I'll let you just read that while I pop out and come back. Right, back again. I'll see if I can't remove that bit of paper over my face. Hopefully you heard everything that was going on there. I'll go back to the chat and see. Hello to all the new folks who have popped in there. CP, g'day Fern, Ange, J1's in town. Everybody's rolling in. Sorry to be so early for you today. Aussie. Well, that was going to be my question at the end of all that, Denise, but you beat me to it. Well done. Who here stands with Ukraine? I mean, what right does this little pillock, I'm trying to maintain. In through the nose, out through the mouth. What has this fool Albanese got to suggest that the people of Australia are behind this decision? I'd love to see it. I think if we were all to email all the politicians, not just our own, but all the politicians, and say, hey, this isn't on. Nobody's supporting this. We should get some of supposedly the politicians that are representing us, that are representing us at that place in Canberra, to stand up and ask a few of those questions. And I'm sure Senator Ruddock, I'm sure Senator Roberts, well, I'm not sure about Senator Roberts, but I think they would stand up and ask the questions. Rennick certainly will. He's got nothing to lose, everything to gain. So by pressuring all those around him, Rennick looks pretty good if he stands up and actually asks the question. Everybody else will duck for cover for the answer or not even bother turning up in the chambers. But it will get asked. And it could well be another slap in the face to the Australian people just to see how little the Australian government actually cares about Australians. It's pretty simple. This appears to be an interesting new survey that's been done. Support for Israel among young evangelicals has plummeted by over 50% in just 3 years, posing a potential threat to American backing of the Jewish state. Now, there's been a lot of exposés recently in America, a lot of information flooding through today from a friend in Coffs about Jewish companies, Jewish people, and Jewish money influencing politics all over the world, but particularly US politics and US media, as it turns out, and not just news media, everything from comedies to, tragedies to everything. Now, I haven't read all of this information that's been sent through. They do, on face value, posture some interesting questions that probably do require further investigation. And that's investigation that we all should be doing. But when you do go investigating these sorts of things, and I'll have to go through it more myself first before I share them with you, but there are a few very big issues happening at the moment, and we're not going to get through any of them if we don't unify, if we don't find a way to come together. And there are elements in this movement that just ignore each other completely, and I'm guilty of it. There are elements that just ignore each other, not because of, I would hope no ill will. I don't perceive that, especially, except maybe in one case. Just ego, threat. My audience is my audience. You're not going to share my audience. I'm going to share your audience. You can't give me any more of your more. I can't get it. What we should be doing is increasing our audience, not worrying about sharing the ones that we currently have. And we need to start having those conversations. Now, Clive Palmer's having a lot of conversations at the moment, and he's having them on television in the form of advertising. Now, Joe Hilda, I'm wondering if this is meant to be Joe with an E, Hildebrand, but it might be somebody called Joe Hilda, Broomhilda. That's what I usually call Hildebrand. They launched a petition calling for the government inquiry into Clive's political advertising practices following a public backlash against his anti-trans ads appearing across television and print. I haven't seen them. Concerns have been raised over misinformation and ethical standards in election campaigns. Well, bugger me. I would have thought if they want a platform that says no trans, then they're quite allowed to run on it and to advertise the fact that that is their platform. But these fools don't seem to comprehend that just yet. You got to love the French, haven't you? You've really got to love the French. They were so good in World War II, especially the resistance. I mean that, quite frankly. But at any rate, the French have now decided that well, I am being disingenuous. There is one French politician, but he represents his people. So therefore, there are many French men and women, apparently, who want the Statue of Liberty returned because America has lost its way. It's no longer standing for what the sculpture represents. So they would like the US, especially this bloke, to return it. I love it. Bloody ridiculous, but I love it. Just goes to show how ridiculous they can be. Now, I want to play something to you, but I've just seen how long it runs, and I don't have that sort of time. So later tonight, I may well put up something. This is a confession from a female Mason. You may have seen it, you may not have, but I would like to play it in full. You'll find it's, well, I'm not going to tell you how you'll find it. I'd be interested to learn what you think after you see it. So that'll be my aim tonight, to come up, maybe put that on and just play that once I get home. But I've got to go and get to this airport, otherwise there will be a bit of a problem. So I will shoot off right now. I will wish you all the very best for the rest of the day, and look forward to chatting to you probably sometime after 7:30 Queensland time tonight, if you're at all interested in being around and I've managed to dodge each and every one of the dickheads that'll be on the M1 this afternoon. Bye.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!